Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. As always, I am your host. My name is Jeff, and alongside me, as always as well, is the Chris Harris to my James Storm. It's Max. Max, everybody.
Once again, this is 2 weeks in a row where you have given me a good person, and I'm happy with that. Multiple-time tag team champion. He's coming back on the TNA reunion. The issue, Jeff, is when we did our first podcast, and it was just wrestling in general, you had a bunch of crappy people to compare me to. Because we're now just TNA and Impact, the list of crappy people is relatively small. So eventually you have to name good people. And this is between this and Anarchia last week, I'm feeling things are going up.
I'll give you this one. But Anarchia
hey,
we're not getting any cred there.
I've been told that Anarchia's mother's favorite wrestler is Anarchia. So someone likes him.
What about, like last week, you could be the Pac-Man Jones to my Ron the Truth Killings. That's still okay?
I mean,
tag team.
I have no issue with Pac-Man.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's a professional football player. That is one of the best to ever do what he did.
Williams.
What?
No D'Angelo Williams.
I mean, he is absolutely amazing. Had he wrestled instead of played football, he would have been a world champion.
I think he's wrestling in the Buffalo Bills tailgate parties. That was what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, those guys go through tables like champions, though, the Buffalo Bills.
Right down, not too far away. I should go one day, but and drop an elbow. All right, guys. So this is our show. We're gonna thank you for tuning in again. Thank you for the great success of last episode. It was our most listened to episode. We're growing exponentially, and we thank you for that. We'll get to that in a moment. But this show is going to be a lot more fun and a little bit less serious topics. Last week was a little bit of some serious stuff we had to go over, but this is just back to nonsense. And we have our hot topics. We have 4 today, including the X Division tournament bracket and stuff going on with that. And then we have, after the break after that, we have the beginning of our game show battle. Max is going to give me 4 theme songs from TNA Impact history, Dale Oliver and such. And I will be giving Max's chosen topic of course, AJ Styles. I'm guessing his gear is what you were hoping that it would that it would be about. His red.
I mean, gear is one of my favorite things. Yes. But any AJ Styles topic is fine. The thing that you don't realize, and the viewers may not realize either, is I'm the one who puts these episodes together, which means I'll play you a song right now, and you'll guess it correctly or not. But when I actually cut this episode, I'm going to change it up completely. Like I may play you Hulk Hogan's theme here, and you're like, oh, that's Hulk Hogan. But when the listeners hear it, it'll be like AJ Styles' theme, and they'll be like, why does this guy think AJ Styles' theme song is Hulk Hogan's? So I'm gonna win no matter what. And even if I get an AJ Styles question wrong, I'll just retape myself giving the correct answer when I put the episode together.
Max, I have no.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Guilty. All right. We'll see. With that being said, I'm not going to get a single one wrong. And Max will get them all wrong. And somehow, see, since you can't edit this part, he's going to twist it on me. So, we'll see. All right. But it'll be fun either way. And the winner of this game show, I guess, that will conclude on the next episode 7, will get to choose the winner, or choose the tournament choice for next time. So I think, Max, are you still wagering knockouts, or are we going with something different?
I don't know. I haven't decided between knockouts or best belt. Those are the two that I'm.
That's cool. There's been so many belts, so that works.
Yeah. And
mine is, of course, best theme song, which I think fits in the realm, and we'll see. I'm sure Max will change that as well. The winner of that as well. And then after that, we're going to go to our treehouse. We're going to visit the Rascalz treehouse, and we're going to ask questions that you, the listeners, had asked us. TNA related, some funny, some serious. We'll see where the world takes us, my friends. This is going to be a fun one. But first, I want to welcome our new staff members. Derek at DM Eason is the new VP of Art Department for us. You might know his work from some merchandise for Impact roster, including Taya and Rascalz and stuff. Speaking of Rascalz, so welcome to him. He's a great addition. And then as well, our VP of Digital Expansion, who's already kicking ass on that. We already have a Facebook at TNAIW Podcast, so go at us there as well. And he'll have us on YouTube. Hey, YouTube, starting with this episode. So you guys might know him as Mr. Impact Blog. We know him as Craig. Great dude, expanding our show, and that's all we can hope for this show. We want to do this for life. So we welcome all help. We appreciate every like, listen, follow, and everything in between. Every DM. Max, you've got a lot of DMs since the show aired? Private DMs? No? Is that what
Not a single one.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
But let's be realistic. In terms of being active on Twitter,
yeah.
I'm active when it comes to like football stuff, but not particularly active when it comes to wrestling.
Cody asked me, when are you on here? I said, nah, just for Chad Ochocinco. And
yeah, basically. Chad Ochocinco, AJ Styles, those are pretty much the only two things I deal with on Twitter.
But pre-WWE.
Yeah.
All right.
And arguing with people who used to be commentators.
Huh? Oh, Mark Madden. God, don't get me started. All right, so we have a fun show today. Like I said, before we get into that, I do want to send it over to Cody to thank our listeners as well. Here's Cody with his shout-outs.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's been an awesome start. I have a few shout-outs to give for this episode. Bernard Menz at BMenz79, Leo Goodell, Chris Mariner at Mariner C, Anil at Anil Minotti, Dwayne Rogers at ECW Punk 81. We also have a question here from Miguel at Miguel Joto. He asks, thoughts on the TNA name return, probably regarding the TNA Throwback Show during Mania weekend. With that said, we thank you to everyone who interacts. We see it all and appreciate it very much. Keep interacting with me on Twitter at MiseryEater101, and you can catch me on my YouTube channel, A Glimpse Into My Mind. Now back to Jeff and Max in the studio.
Thank you, Cody. One, that's a great question by Miguel. We'll finish or answer that in just a moment because that's actually our first hot topic. But I want to take time to do two things. One, thank Cody. Cody's still killing it on Twitter. Once again, you see someone who's excited about something, that's Cody. You see someone who's, whatever, that's me. So you can tell the difference in our personality. But Cody, we might not always agree with each other, or I don't even agree with Max, and the viewers don't even have to agree with us. The point of this show is to have a platform for all of us with different opinions to come and show our passion for Impact Wrestling. And Cody continuously shows that on our Twitter account and his. And thank you, Cody, for all the work you're doing. We obviously see it daily, and the results are there. The other thing is why we do those shout outs. I do want to mention this. The point of this is to thank, and yes, we can't get to everyone, even though I hear and see all of you, and we'll get to you, I hope, sooner rather than later. But we want to interact. We want to thank our fans. This isn't us begging or fishing for things. These are people who come to us and vice versa, and we have a nice conversation with, or we like their point of view. It's that simple. Keep interacting with us. We love you guys. Thank you very much. But on to Miguel's question and our first hot topic. If you want to start the clock, I guess we can run it into the actual question, into the topic.
Yeah, I'm ready. Start it up.
So
I'm starting it up.
Okay. Sorry, I'll recap while you're doing that. Miguel, who, awesome dude, met him in New York for Bound for Glory. Was it last? Holy wow. Yeah, not this last October, the one before. Good dude. His question is, how do we, I think from what I heard is how do we feel about the TNA name being used? I think you and I kind of know where, at least I'm at it with it, and I think I know where you're at with it. From day one, I have always called this TNA. It's hard for me to say Impact. I'm okay with it being Impact. I think they did a great job of building that brand up. And on the flip side, I still do understand why some fans hate it being called TNA. Years and years of being shit on, LOL TNA and all of that. For me, I embrace it. I know our past, and if you really look at it, how many LOL TNA things are there? Even if you say 50, there's at least 100 great things from TNA. At least. So for me, yes, there's good and bad, but with anything there is, I don't mind it. I think we're in an era where unfortunately, we're getting older, so that fan base's voice, not that it doesn't matter as much, but it's not going to be as loud as the newcomers who now think TNA is kind of cool retro. And I think that's where we're headed. I don't know. Is that how you feel? Or
I mean, to me, I like the TNA name. I think a lot of it is just tons of wrestling promotions, and all the biggest ones that I can think of use the 3 letters like ROH, WWE, WCW, AEW. So I like that TNA kind of fits that mold. Obviously, TNA, when you think of what TNA stands for, you don't think of total nonstop action. So I understand that issue. But the whole LOL TNA and all the bad stuff, I mean, when I think of WCW, I don't think of the Judy Bagwell on a pole match or stupid stuff like that. I think of, the NWO, Jericho, Goldberg. I think of the good parts of it, even though there were bad things. Same thing when I think of the WWE. The first thing I think about isn't, this horrible whatever. I think of.
That was quick.
Our timer went off. I had super low, but I'll talk a little bit longer since you took most of the time. I think of the good stuff that happened. Yeah. So I think that's a similar thing with TNA. That there were bad things about TNA. But when I think of TNA, I think of the enjoyable things. I don't have a problem with Impact Wrestling. I think that it's good that it's changed because I think it did give some people the chance to kind of give it a fresh start. But I don't think, when I think of TNA, I don't think of it as a bad thing. And I don't think there's any issue with Impact doing a, welcome back to, or a, hey, here's a throwback TNA episode. Just like when ECW when ECW was bought by WWE, WWE did the whole ECW shows, not the whole thing, but they did hey, this is one night only. It's okay.
But that's not what this is. I want to make that clear. And that's another argument I see online is, it's a one night only. It's not a one night only. I see people complaining, well, you could do a one night only without AJ and Joe. This isn't a one night only. This is a no place like home. It's the aura of TNA. There's going to be stars from it to come back and wrestle the new crop of it. It's not really a one night stand. And I think that's one of the issues I'm having with people online that are like, oh, you can't do it. You can, because there's people like Ethan Page who love TNA and will find ways like King of the Mountain or Ultimate X that just got announced, or bring back Amazing Red, which is all I really wanted. Chris Sabin, all these people. Chris Harris. Yeah, you're back. There's little pieces and parts that are going to make this feel nostalgic and kind of hey, let's embrace the history and not make it a funny thing. And I said this online, and I'll say it again here before we move on to our next topic. The TNA show, and I want to reiterate, April 3rd, Tampa, it'll be on Fight TV. I don't know how I could say this without being a dick. I think the best way to avoid the stupidity, and you could go on, I won't mention names, but you could go on there and see my interactions from our Twitter account to people who troll us about TNA. If you act like that name does not hurt your feelings, it won't hurt your feelings. And even if it does, if you put on a front, these people don't know. They have no rebuttal. That's the only ammo they have left. So let's embrace it. Let's move on. Let's enjoy it. Let's think of, even if you have to think of this show, this great show that it has to be, I imagine it will be, as what TNA was all about. And that's my way of thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, we have Aces and Eights coming back. We have Amazing Red, Chris Harris, Scott Steiner, Petey Williams, Chris Sabin. It's going to be fun. And We got 2 months still.
Yeah, and real quickly, I'll say one more thing before we end this one. And although I would love to see AJ Styles, Joe, and Christopher Daniels all back, who, by the way, are currently wrestling on Impact Wrestling on Twitch. They are back, by the way. But I would love to see those guys. But TNA was more than those guys. There were tons of wrestlers who were a part of TNA. And just because you don't have those names doesn't mean that you can't use a TNA name, or doesn't mean it's not a reunion show of old people of old times past. There were a lot of people who made up what made TNA great, and
Right.
you can still do a, hey, this is a throwback to our past without having some of the bigger names. It's not a bad thing. Just like if WWE's doing a throwback episode, they don't have to have Hulk Hogan on there. There's a bunch of wrestlers who wrestled that you can use. So
Yeah, there was a bunch of building blocks, and I agree with that as
Yeah.
well. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, you bring back an AJ or Joe, they have to go over, right, if they're in a match.
yeah,
So it's not helping the younger talent that's there that are trying to establish themselves. I think it's a great show. It's a great idea. Everyone just shut up and have fun. I don't know why
Exactly.
this is. All right, let's move on.
all right.
Next topic is we're going to run through. We got 2 minutes on the clock. It's actually the Mexico shows. This is a topic because usually I'm pretty blunt about my my lack of appreciation for the Mexican shows. I get that we're in a partnership with AAA, but who isn't? Feels like everyone is these days. I'm not a big fan of their talent. Just Vikingo or whatever, however you pronounce his name, and Torsten, is there quality people? Yeah, there is. There are quality people there. But it's hard just to bring guest stars on a show when you don't know them that well. And maybe that's just me. But you put on these American people that maybe the Mexicans don't know either, and they're just there sitting silently or whatever. But, they do obviously respect wrestling, as they did this week with Josh Alexander in that great match. So I think good wrestling trumps all, and it translates. But when you have Tessa Blanchard in the ring doing a promo for 9 minutes, it's going to be dead silent, and it doesn't look good. But I don't know.
I mean, I definitely agree. If you're going to go someplace, especially where whatever language they're speaking, you're speaking, the wrestlers are speaking, isn't their native language, you can't do long promos. Just like you can't have somebody from AAA come up and do a 9-minute promo in Spanish, and the fans just sit there like, what is going on? So I agree with that.
Where you're at. If you're in California.
Well, yeah, based off where you are, yeah. But I do think that I do like the partnership. I think the thing that they need to do is they need to have these guys come in, if they're going to do this, and have them wrestle not in a show in Mexico, but in just a normal TNA show, even if it's not title runs, a couple times just to get people to know who they are. And then you also send your talent down there, have them wrestle. So that way, then when you do hey, we're going to be here for a week filming 6 episodes, and you bring these guys out, they're like, oh yeah, we've seen this guy a bunch of times. Or same thing when you're like, hey, we're going to be in Mexico, so we're going to highlight these wrestlers from AAA. TNA fans are like, oh, we've seen these guys a couple times, we know who they are. So it just kind of gives it a more of, instead of it being like, oh, who is this guy, it's like, oh yeah, that's who this guy is because we've seen him 5 or 6 times.
And that's the thing is I know the guys. I'm not going to say I know I'm familiar with their storylines or their work or anything like that. I know from Impact and online. So maybe it's a shame on me, but at the same time, the casual viewer just seeing the clowns and all this, I don't get it. And had they done maybe like video packages and selected a few or whatever and just made it like a hype video to slowly, gradually get us excited about this. Now, I know there's fans that are just excited about it, but unfortunately it's not for me. But the fact that we're expanding, just like we're trying to do with expansion, is great. I actually talked with Craig, Mr. Impact Blog, for quite a bit today about going back to England, and hopefully they go across the pond there this year and do that. They have a show in Louisville, Kentucky at the end of February. They're going to Atlanta rather soon. So they're starting to go to different markets. I hope it eventually leads to live. I know when you make deals and partnerships, you have to do some dates and make some commitments. So we'll see. There was some quality stuff. It's not a bad episode. I actually liked the episode for once. But it's hard to get into it when the audience isn't into it. and then that's where
I
I'm at.
agree. Our time is up. My buzzer is not working for the timer, so I just have to watch it.
Is this in 2010? Is this
I
when we're
mean,
filming?
Unfortunately, my phone that I usually keep it off of is dead, so I have to use my iPad, and for some reason the iPad is being weird.
Rascalz can't get anything right, man. All right, next up is Matt Hardy. We're actually talking about Matt Hardy. Never thought I'd say that on the show. But Matt Hardy pretty casually is mentioning that he is becoming a free agent or isn't happy and will be a free agent. Maybe he's wheeling dealing, trying to get a bigger contract. But that's not under our business. Our business here is, do you welcome back Matt Hardy? Do you think he'd be a welcome addition? Do you think he goes to Impact, or do you think he goes somewhere with AEW? I'll let you go first, see your opinion, and I'll definitely say mine.
First off, I think that he definitely needs to go someplace where he's going to have more creative freedom, in the sense that they're going to allow him to just cut his own promos and not have something written out. Broken Matt Hardy was amazing when it was in ROH, when it was in Impact, because he was just kind of allowed to say what he wanted, and I think it was much better than it was when it came back on WWE. I would welcome him back. I think he would be a welcome addition to the TNA roster. He's someone with that character. You don't need to throw him into a title instantly. He can just pick a feud, and even if that feud has no title attached to it, it's still going to be a great feud because of what he brings and the over-the-topness. So I would love to have him come to Impact. Unfortunately, I think you'll probably see him either go to someplace like AEW or possibly even ROH that'll allow maybe him just maybe some more freedom and maybe less strenuous.
Yeah, Impact, his schedule isn't that bad. ROH, now that Marty Scurll is taking over as booker there, is doing some good things, it seems, or is trying to, so they might make a swing for him. I just think it's going to matter to what is important to him money-wise and creativity-wise. So, whatever we say doesn't matter in regards to us guessing. But the AEW does make sense in the fact that it gets to a larger audience. There's no denying that. Let's be honest. It's on TNT. It is what it is. At the same time, for me, I have a few parts to this. 3, in fact. 1, I saw people complaining about his age. We don't need another person of that age. Sorry. His talent transcends his age. Like RVD right now. RVD is one of my favorite characters. I never thought I'd say that in 2020 on an episode of Impact. I think Matt offers more. Could he be backstage and help with the creative part of it? Can there be Matt Hardy's broken segments on the show that add to the the variety show that is Impact Wrestling? I think so. So I think one is his age. I'm okay with that. 2, I think part of the issue people had is welcoming him back with open arms after all the Red B and all the stuff they did and said. Here's the thing. If we take a step back and look at that situation, it was escalated on both sides, especially theirs. 1, we're not there. I hate when we make decisions based on sheets and stuff and opinion. We don't know the facts. But the fact of the matter is, he drew. It was when a dying time when Impact wasn't getting any buzz. He was the beacon of light and buzz at that time. We had nothing to hold on to. And I think full circle, he needs to come back just to complete that. Final Deletion was ranked number 1 by Impact fans as the match of the decade. If that says something, I think the Impact fans are ready to bring him back. I think Impact understands that the Jeff Jarrett situation maybe needed to be brought to light. Maybe not in that way, but it did, and it got us Don and Scott. So bygones are bygones. And I feel the same way about Jeff Jarrett. We just got to let it go. We can't be hating on people who've contributed or that we like for no reason. But I welcome back open arms. I think that he would be a welcome addition. I think we have a very smart booking team and creative staff, and I would love to see what he would do this time around, because he's been sitting back thinking about stuff that WWE doesn't let him do.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matt Hardy, I'm all for it. But we're going to move on to our last topic. A title Matt Hardy has unfortunately never won. The X Division Championship. We are almost done with the first round. We have a few ongoing ones from the Jimmy Yang's gang that I don't want to mention because I might have a brain aneurysm. Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe is making me literally claw my eyes out every time I look at the poll. I'm going to ask you, Max, first. When you vote for this, say you're a casual fan, you're scrolling through Twitter, and you see a poll that says, who is the better X Division champion? Kurt Angle or Samoa Joe? How do you think first?
I mean, who do I think is the better X Division champion?
Who would you vote for?
Oh, I voted for Joe.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe's definitely the better X Division champion.
So do you think it's the appeal of Kurt Angle, the name value?
So, I mean, I think there's a couple different things. I mean, obviously, we're trying to say who's the better X Division champion, but people are going to look at it one of two ways. They're either going to A, rate it simply based off of what they did as X Division champion, or they're going to say, this guy was an X Division champion. What did he do in TNA? And they're going to look at the entirety of their career in TNA. And I mean, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I mean, obviously, if we're talking who's the better whatever, Shark Boy or AJ Styles, anybody vote for Shark Boy is smoking crack. But at the same time,
let's be fair. Spud almost upset it.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing ever. But in the situation like this, although I think Samoa Joe is clearly the better X Division champion, I don't think that the people voting for Kurt Angle are so far out of left field. They're basically saying they're looking at Kurt Angle as a whole and saying, I think this is a better career in TNA, which once again may not necessarily be where we're going for, but this is a bracket. It's left to the fans, and upsets happen.
I know, and that's where I got
a number 1 seed and lost to a 16 seed. It happens.
Well, I gotta find my chill when it comes to this because it's hard for me not to just lash out. And you guys will obviously see me respond with crying faces and amongst other things. You know, I get it from the standpoint of not knowing much more than, I think there's a third way is what I'm getting at. I know you said 1 and 2. I think there's a third one, which is not what they did in TNA, not what they did as X Division champion, but their career as a whole. What did that entertainer, that sports entertainer, that wrestler do? And obviously Kurt Angle's that name. So you're going to have the casual fan who, hey, it's Kurt Angle. I love his work. He's a cool dude. He's got whatever. And then Samoa Joe, maybe they don't like as much or they only know him from recent stuff. But anyways, guys, keep voting. Don't let anyone discourage you one way or another. Don't even listen to me. Tell me F off. Vote for who you want. We want the upsets. Well, Max wants the upsets. He still has a save. So does Cody. I'm going to swindle one of them if Angle wins this. But let's get into the other results really quick. Don West Best did finish. We got all those results. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. We have Kid Cash versus Six Pac. 75% goes to Max. Do you? What's your guess?
I'd say Kid Cash.
It was Kid Cash. Kid Cash won 75-25%. That's pretty cool because going away from what I just said, maybe that wasn't a vote of, hey, whose career, because obviously X-Pac, Six-Pac would have the bigger career. The person he's going to match up, and I wish this was a real match. If TNA could book this for the homecoming show, the next matchup was Low Key versus RVD. It was a close one. Close-ish, 58-42. Low Key won. If I could give you my savings to watch Low Key versus Kid Cash,
that'd be a good match.
Kick the shit out of each other for 30 minutes. Here, take it. Take my money. But so that's the next round. The next round is going to be Low Key versus Kid Cash. So that's a good one. And then Abyss versus Jerry Lynn, another eyelash pulling out situation for me. But Jerry Lynn won with 53%. Abyss 47. Come on, guys. Be better. Do better. Do better. Come on.
I mean, Abyss was a dominant champion.
Not as X Division champion.
I mean,
Who do you know? Off the top of your head, do you know who beat Abyss for the X Division championship?
yes, I do. It was what's his face? The dude you hate. He beat him in an Ultimate X match. My brain stopped working.
Kendrick.
Yeah, Brian Kendrick in Ultimate X when like he went to powerbomb him or something and he reached up and grabbed the belt or something dumb.
Something stupid.
Because I remember we were watching it and we were like, how the F is Abyss going to get his ass up there to win Ultimate X?
The only good thing about Abyss around that time frame, and I love Abyss to death, but that era was do you remember the groceries? I remember he was clapping. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh man, I gotta find that on the app. Anyway, so Jerry Lynn won that one. The vote's over. He won. Let's move on. And then AJ Styles versus Rockstar Spud. Surprising there in the sense that 79% voted for AJ, 21% of you voted for Rockstar Spud. I swear these are trolls. I don't think there's well, you know what? I can't say it. We don't know. People like what they like, and they have opinions how they do. So keep coming. Who am I to tell you otherwise? But that means we have a matchup of AJ versus Jerry Lynn, which, beauty, pure beauty. I can't be happier with that. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to run down everyone that made it to the second round. And then, do you want to save anyone before I?
I will never use my save. So.
Are you serious?
I'm going to let it go to the fans. I think the fans are the ones who should determine this. I don't think anybody should be using their saves.
Yeah, I'm not as kind as you. So right now we still have Smojo versus Kurt Angle. Obviously, as I mentioned, I think last I checked it was 51-49 in favor of Smojo. Homicide versus Sheik Abdul Bashir. DJZ versus Robbie E did finish, and I'll save that. You guys can look it up, but I'll save that for next episode. And then Bride Cage versus Mike Bennett hasn't ended yet either. And I think that actually Mike Bennett was getting some votes. So go check it out. Vote for who you like. No hard feelings. No attack. Enjoy what you like. That's my disclaimer. But making to the second round, so we have AJ, Jerry Lynn, Low Key Kid Cash making it out of Don West Best. Out of the SCX division. And shout out to Disco Inferno making it back to TNA. We have Aries, Seidel, Lethal, and Petey Williams. Another good region there. Then we have my save, which was Christopher Daniels, because he lost to TJP. Divine and Young were a 50-50 split, so they advanced. Kazarian, and then Eddie Edwards beating Sonny Siaki, which I'm mad about as well, but is what it is. And then last, Sabin Shelley, Trevor Lee, Amazing Red, and Taiji Ishimori. There you go. I got it right that time. So a lot of big names making it through. It's going to be a very interesting second round. I'm really excited. A lot of cool mashups that happen, and that wasn't on purpose. So we'll see. You'll hear me ranting and raving. I can't help it. I really can't. Are you still sticking? Do you feel confident with your choice to win it all?
I mean, we'll see. I think there's a couple people who could win it.
Okay. For the fans, for the listeners, who are you a fan of is what I meant to say.
Oh, AJ Styles. That's who I think is going to win it. And by the way, I just watched him pin Kurt Angle with a springboard 450 to win the heavyweight championship. So my favorite move, my favorite wrestler.
I could see AJ, but I think there's a lot of that Spud 21% really weirded me out, man. So we'll see where these fans go with it. My pick, I'm still debating. I obviously love Low Key out of that bracket. I love AJ, of course. But Chris Sabin, especially when coming back, maybe he gets some votes there. But we'll see. We leave it up to you guys, and we will trust in your opinions. But speaking of AJ Styles, again, we're going to take a break. I'm sure Max will put in some AJ music, and then we will move on to our game show featuring AJ style questions and TNA theme songs. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. During the commercial break, Max won the coin toss, and I don't know. And you want to go first, right?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So you can ask me a question.
So I have 7 questions here for you, each
7.
with a different topic. I want to make sure your hands are above your keyboard. I'm not
Hands are above the keyboard.
Okay. So here are your 7 topics.
Okay.
Type of match,
Fuck.
AJ's exit, NWA TNA, personal one, clever, X Division, tag titles, and pay-per-view.
Let's start with tag titles.
Tag titles. This is actually a multiple choice.
Okay.
Which one of these wrestlers did AJ Styles win a tag team title with?
Okay.
TNA. Was it Samoa Joe, Abyss, Amazing Red, or James Storm?
I don't think it wasn't Amazing Red. I know it wasn't James Storm. And I don't think he ever won one with. I'm gonna go Abyss. Because it's Abyss. He's won a tag team title with like weird people, I feel like. I know he won one with Jerry Lynn. I know he won one with Christopher Daniels.
Okay.
He won one with like Tomko for some stupid reason. And
Christian Coalition, baby.
Yeah, but like just people like, yeah, and then so yeah, it was Abyss.
You're correct. It's one for one. Abyss. Good job.
All right. So do I get to load a theme song?
You're gonna play a theme song.
All right.
You're gonna play a snippet, right? And then I'm gonna tell you
how long do you want it to play through the ad? Hold on. How long do you want me to play it for? How many seconds?
This is. Hey, you're competing against me. I would say the whole song, but you get to.
All right, cool. I'm gonna give you 1 second, and then you got to know what it is.
Let's do 10
seconds.
Something.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, that is 19 seconds.
Wow. This one actually, it sounds familiar. It's the band that always works with TNA. Woo! See, I don't have a cool topic hint here like you do.
It's okay. Here's your topic.
Okay,
it's a theme song from somebody who was in TNA.
You son of a bitch. You know, I'm not going to waste the viewer or listeners' time, and it's going to kill me when you tell me. Was that from the beginning?
Yes, that was the start. Yeah, I started at 0 seconds.
All right, I'm just going to say. Oh wait, is that Crimson?
It is Crimson.
Yes, I knew I hated that song. All right. 1-1, baby. Here we go.
Is it good?
Ah, yes. All right. So you get your choice again.
All right. What were the? You said X Division was one of them.
Yep. Personal one.
Let's go with X Division.
X Division. Pretty straightforward. You should know this. How many times has AJ Styles won the X Division championship?
We talked about this when we were having it. We were having our X Division champion, him versus Low-Ki. I think it was him versus Low-Ki that we were discussing. Maybe we were discussing times, but he's won it 6 times.
6 is correct.
But I know he's held it for less time than Low-Ki, and then we were about that.
So you're 2 for 2. All right.
All right.
How are you guys at home doing? You guys 2 for 2 as well?
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go. That's from the book of Dillygaff, my friend. That is Shannon Moore.
It's Ink, but yes, that is true.
Yeah, Jesse Neal.
Yeah.
You are there's no winner there. I'm sorry for fans of Ink. You are the Jesse Neal and Shannon Moore to my whoever you want to give me. Good Lord. All right, hell yeah. All right, 2 for 2. All right, this is a serious thing. And you wanted to know the answers beforehand.
I mean, hey, we do what we do.
I'm kidding. All right, so you got personal one, pay-per-view, NWA TNA, AJ's exit, or match stipulation.
Let's go with. Hold on. Sorry, for some reason.
We're really advanced here at the.
For some reason, Marty Scurll's theme kept playing. I couldn't get it to go away. Let's go with NWA TNA.
Okay.
This again, probably I'm not going to play this one.
Nailing these seem. I'm trying to go easy on you because I thought I would get all the themes, but let's see. Which 2 former X Division champions did AJ team with in the first match in NWA TNA history?
You said 2 former X Division champions?
Yeah, all right.
So I'll say Jerry Lynn is one of them.
I just gave you a long list of who's in the X Division champion. So.
I know. Because I know Jerry Lynn was there in the first NWA TNA.
Okay.
And
how about this? This isn't an answer. You won't lose any points. Who was the first match against? Do you know that?
I have no fucking clue.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll go. I don't think this is right, but I'll still go with it. I'll go low key.
They fought the Flying Elvises.
Okay.
You would know that.
No.
One was Jerry Lynn, and the other was Low Key.
Okay. Look at me guess. I was just trying to think who was there. I was like, all right, who was there at that time? Because I will say that on Impact Wrestling on Twitch, one of the matches they did show was, while we were filming this, was AJ Styles versus Jerry Lynn versus Low Key versus Psychosis for the first Impact Wrestling X Division Championship.
Wait, right now?
Well, when we first started the episode, it was on.
You cheating bastard!
I'm not cheating. This is. I always watch Impact Wrestling on Twitch.
Can't RVD just go and break the internet again? Why?
So, by the way, for those wondering, it's Rhino versus. I think that's Jarrett. It's a little fuzzy right now. My internet's buffering. It looks like, unless there's some other white blonde dude with a big coat, it's not Christian. So I'm pretty sure it's Jeff Jarrett who's wrestling.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So here's my third one, right?
Yes, this is your third one.
We have 4 this episode, 3 next. So I'd like to go into this 4 out of 4.
All right.
I'm
hoping. Once again, I didn't pre-listen to these. I'm trying to pick people that I think would be hard. Unfortunately, I'm really waiting for them to start this song with like Sting. I'm like, fuck, well, there's Sting. Click. You know who that is? So hold on. Let's see if there's a. Okay, here we go. Ready?
You're just gonna cut and edit them anyway.
That's true. Okay, so here we go. Ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's someone's. Wow, you might have me here.
I will give you a hint.
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple hints on this one because it is super tough. Okay. It was used in 2008.
Okay.
And the person isn't a wrestler. They're more of a manager.
Okay. My original thought, honestly, was like Dixie or something pre her song, the other song she had. You might have me here. So it's a female. I knew it was a female, obviously. They're more of a manager. 2008. Charmel?
SoCal Val.
Oh, she had entrance music?
Yes, I did. Sometimes you get caught with some things off guard.
I don't know about that one. All right. I'll take it on the chin. All right, 2-1, 2-1. All right, for your
This is our last one, right?
Until next episode. Yeah, this will make you 4 out of 4 if you get it right. So you have
right.
Personal one. Pay-per-view.
I'll go with the personal one. It's gonna be something stupid about like his kid or something dumb.
It is. Okay. Which former TNA star last name is the middle name of AJ's first son, and what is it?
You said it's his last name is the middle name?
His first son.
So I'm pretty sure it's Christopher Daniels is who his middle name is, but I don't know Christopher Daniels' real name.
Do I give you half credit?
No, and I'm not going to cheat and look it up. So I know it's Christopher Daniels because they were really good friends, but I don't know Christopher Daniels' real last name.
Okay. So you're 2-1 as well. No, wait. 3-1.
3-1.
3-1. Okay. So I have a chance here.
All right. You ready?
Don't
it's
do
the hardest.
A stupid thing like that. Like fat, naked, oily guys being that Johnson.
You don't. I'm just kidding. That's a joke, by the way.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
This is probably going to be an easy one, but I'm still going to go with it.
Oh. Aces and eights, baby.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate that T-ball one there. So we're both 3-1. And we have 3 more tiebreaker for next episode. That was fun. We need to get back to doing
that.
All right. Maybe we'll get some new challengers for Jeopardy.
Still the best name ever.
I don't believe in him. All right, I need to take my brain needs a break. So we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back from the Rascalz Treehouse. What's up, dudes? We're back. Just kidding. We are. This segment isn't really going to be much different here in the Treehouse than it would be anywhere else in the show. But the point of us going here is compared to the beginning segment where we do hot topics and we come up with our own discussions that we kind of want to bring to the forefront and be analytical about. This is more just us answering your guys' questions, local fans and friends that we have, as well as internet people. And Twitter followers that you guys have given us. We've gotten a ton more, so sorry if yours didn't make the cut. If this doesn't bomb, we'll do it again and use yours that time. So let's just have some fun, answer some questions and about TNA and see where the world takes us, man. All right. Number 1. I'm going to read these verbatim. One question, dudes. Who kidnapped Samoa Joe? James M. Chesapeake, Virginia. Well, James, I've been trying to answer that for a decade, and still have no answers. Literally a decade. I actually had to go back and do some research when I read these, and Samoa Joe was abducted, quote unquote, in February 2010. That's Hogan era stuff. I thought the whole time that it was, and I don't know why, maybe I'm just blurring everything together, that he came back after abduction with the Umaga face paint and the sword and the tribal leggings or whatever the fuck that was, hanging people upside down, trying to kill them. Nation of Violence. But he went away in February 2010, came back April 2010. I don't know who kidnapped him.
Do you think Hogan even knows who kidnapped him?
No, if I had a guess, man, it looks like they were just kind of maybe starting stuff and didn't know what to do, or they were really about the prototypical wrestler. So Rob Terry was getting a push, Matt Morgan, those kind of people.
Crimson.
Yeah, those people. But yeah, I don't know. I my answer, like I answered someone online about this the other day, I'm gonna say KM, because 6 years later he wanted to use a shitty remix of his music. I don't know. I just think it's one of. There go. Sorry.
I think it's bad storytelling. Like, I think they start something and they're like, oh, let's start this story with Joe being abducted. That'd be a really good idea. And then they forget to figure out how they're going to end it. So eventually they're like, we need somebody to do a match. You're like, man, Joe hasn't been in anything for forever. Let's bring him back out and we'll just put him in a match. And then you're like, wait a second. Wasn't he supposed to be abducted? That's just how things end. It's just, they start things, they realize this is bombing. And instead of being like, okay, let's give a conclusion, they're just like, hey, he's back. Let's just forget that ever happened. So, similar to the Jeff Hardy Sting match. You just like, you know what, we're just going to pretend this never happened and just move past it.
You kind of have to in that regard. Well, thanks, James. Yeah, we're breaking up a little bit, so sorry about the audio. I guess it's the treehouse doesn't have great reception.
Yeah.
But we'll keep plugging along, and thanks for sticking with us, guys. Number 2, let's go on that. Oh, and thanks, James, for that question. Number 2, we love you guys. That's a little Chris Sabin reference. Which commentator combo was your favorite? Johnny M. Virginia. I like this question. I don't think it gets talked about too much. I know or online at least, people just kind of just shit on Josh Matthews, and that's the end of it. But one, because neither of us, I imagine, are going to say Josh Matthews. I'll say that, he's definitely stepped up, and I respect him and all he does for Impact. I just think when he came from Sunday Night Heat or wherever the fuck he was to Impact, he tried to do a little more bravado and these lights will inspire you. He still does that, but he's gotten better. So no disrespect to him, but I think I know where you're coming from, and I think you would be Taz, right?
Yeah, Mike definitely Taz. Taz and Mike Tenay are mine. I like Josh Matthews a lot. I think he's grown a lot. I think
for sure.
I think he's definitely someone who, with what Impact is now, will be a good voice for them. But when I think of Impact, when I think of TNA, it's still Taz's voice. It's still Taz's voice.
Like when you hear a match in your head.
Yeah, like when I think of Impact, or if I'm putting on an Impact match and you just would mute it, I would still hear Taz's voice giving me the play-by-play in his comments.
That's fair. There's a lot of DNA. I don't know. Yeah, Taz's, and there you go. Thank you. A lot of them kind of in the DNA of TNA. Matt Morgan, but like let the pigeon loose. All those things that you're used to people, just kind of saying or doing, and you just don't think, oh wait, that's Taz. That's always Taz. So yeah, I get where you're coming from there, and I think this answer kind of really changes with what era you started watching Impact or TNA.
Yeah.
See, for me, even though the matching silk tie and shirt and his love for Amazing Red and all the yelling, I love Don West. I do. I think his voice to me is TNA. Him and Mike Tenay, obviously, together. I would love if they came back for that show. And he gradually got better. And there's some funny stuff that he did, maybe without trying to be funny. If you guys want to go look at him cut on shoot on Mike Tenay, that shit was hilarious. I think he actually told Sting to pull down his pants and let Tenay kiss his ass or something like that. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Other than Mike Tenay and Taz, I think Chet Lemon and Black Snow take it for me. You gotta love Chet Lemon and Black Snow, but all right, cool.
I guess
that's
on the bright side, Mike Tenay is in both of ours, so I guess he's maybe even if it may just be through length of time with a company, he's
Yeah, you know what's funny is I was like thinking about it, and when I saw the question come in, and I was like, oh man, there's so many options, but there really isn't. There's always a common connector. There was never
Yeah.
just even when they brought in new people, there was always interchangeable pieces or transitions. So
They never were just like, we're just going to wipe it and start over with two completely new guys. It was always one guy leaves, someone cuts. So, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Joe storyline. It wasn't they're gone or kidnapped.
Yeah, they're gone, and then like all of a sudden you got two new guys on here.
Right. All right. Well, thanks, Johnny. That's a great question. So 2 local boys there in Virginia for you. We're moving on to the next one, which is actually in my neck of the woods. Chris F. from Utica says, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about Fortune? Fortune 4. Wow. Do you want...
I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately for me, I started watching TNA again with you right at the end of Fortune. The last thing the first and the only thing I really remember of Fortune is their Lethal Lockdown match, and I remember it not being not something that I was super impressed by. I'm trying to remember if that pay-per-view was also the one where Angle fought Jericho, not Jericho. How am I talking about? Where Angle fought Jeff Jarrett, and he did the moonsault off the top of the cage. I wonder I think that's the same pay-per-view, because I remember that sticking out and being really good. But then I remember the Lethal Lockdown.
I think you're thinking of him and Anderson, maybe. I'm not sure.
No, I thought it was him, and I know he wrestled. So he wrestled Jeff Jarrett in a cage when it was his wife, and she was teamed up with Jarrett. And she,
that was Hogan era too. You might be right, but yeah, to the Fortune and I like this. You always bring it up when we talk about factions. It's hard to kind of really think about the positive of faction when the ending or the whole narrative is let's add more people or let's disband them really quickly. And Fortune was kind of that, man. Besides the beer bottle to Raven's face and knocking him the fuck out with that ECW Fortune thing, they kept adding people, shitting on Desmond. Maybe that was I don't want to say Hep C, but shitting on Desmond, Kazarian and his stupid Antonio Banderas haircut, Matt Morgan adding, Doug Williams. It was just really weird, man. And then they had joined with Immortal. In fact, I think the team Flair and Hogan, when they weren't together yet, was actually Joe's return from the band. But yeah, no, my least favorite thing with Fortune, I guess we should answer the question, is my least favorite, and you gotta look this up because I'm dead ass serious. AJ's lip gloss. This dude, I don't know what, I guess heel means lip gloss to AJ or Vaseline. I don't know what the hell was going on. Maybe he was kissing ass with Mike Tenay. I have no clue, but that shit was bad. And then I'd be stupid not to mention, of course, we got Flair Lethal promo out of that, which, like it or not, I'm a like it kind of guy. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. And this was a time when Lethal wasn't really getting his due. So it was surprising to see him get such a cool spotlighted promo, which was awesome. But do you have anything that you really love?
Yes, I looked it up. I was right. It was Lockdown 2011. They had the Jeff Jarrett with Karen Jarrett defeated Kurt Angle in the Ultra Male Rules 2 out of 3 fall steel cage match. And in that same one was Fortune, Daniels, Storm, Kazarian, and Rude defeated Immortal, Abyss, Bully Ray, Matt Hardy, and Ric Flair.
Did they break up or were they against each other?
They were against each other on that one.
Well, yeah, but 2 heel, such a mess at that time.
I think at that time, Fortune were supposed to be faces.
Well, regardless, that answers our first question of who took Joe. It bad creative.
Exactly, yeah. Bad storytelling.
Yeah, but let's actually jump on to something that the next question, which I actually think was kind of good storytelling. I just think it was and that's what the question is, the right people in the right places, aces in places, no pun intended. This one's from Vasilios, at Vasilios_26, our friend from online, a listener, a fan, always retweets us and says great things. Hey, buddy. But he says, who do you think would have been a better choice to be the leader of Aces and Eights? Do you want to lead that one? Because I don't know if we're on the same page.
So, first off, I liked Bully. I thought he did good as the leader. But I think the two choices, it would have required a little bit of changes in storytelling. I think one could have been AJ, because similar to when, like, AJ was Mr. TNA.
Right.
So in Aces and Eights was basically, they weren't like anti one group, they were completely anti everybody in TNA. So I think it would have been interesting for him to be the leader, just because somebody who was so bad I'm Mr. TNA to go against him would have been interesting. But at the time he was doing the whole like emo, I'm by myself AJ, and I think it would have been stupid for them to have him be the leader when he was already in the process of kind of being like, I'm by myself, I don't care about anybody.
But at the same time, man, he was the no one shirt and the only, he was, by himself, lone wolf. He was on a bike, and they kind of hinted at him being it. So, I'm with you there. I get the big turn, but I guess he was already, what you're saying, he's already in that neutral zone, so it wouldn't have been a shock.
Yeah, you would have had to completely redo his storyline there.
One, we got the great thing in Norfolk where we got to see him turn from
that is true.
Yeah, so that was a great show. We saw that live. It was really awesome. But I think the reason you're giving for no AJ is the reason I would only give for Bully. I actually like him in that role. It's just that they turned a guy whose name is literally Bully into this face painting, heartwarming, I love Brooke Hogan bullshit that we were supposed to buy, and then be upset when he turned. Like it was some big stab in the back. Devon's already in the group, for fuck's sake. Who do we think it is?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
The casting is weird, and that part of the storytelling was weird, but the casting was the biggest disappointment with Ace and Eights. You had Doc, which I obviously enjoyed. D'Lo was great. And so there's good pieces, even if the Dudleys were in it. The good pieces, Team 3D. But then you had, Knox. You had
Garrett Bischoff,
Garrett Bischoff, whatever his friggin' name is, who always looked like someone just told him a secret or farted. Same with Wes Briscoe, them dumps. I know this one you brought up off air, but I liked was Sting. You mentioned Sting.
Yeah, I think Sting would have been a really good one.
Outside the box thinking, that's kind of cool, man.
Just because it kind of would have, to me, it would have kind of been one of those, similar to when Hogan turned with the NWO, you would have never seen it coming. You would have been like, oh, Sting's here to save TNA, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns and it would have been like, what? Now, I don't remember if at that point he was doing the Joker Sting or if it was before then.
So he was doing Joker Sting when we went to Bound for Glory in Philly. So that wasn't 10-10-10. That was 2011. So, and I think they disbanded, they started and ended in 2012. So it was before. But with the weird thing with the Joker Sting, which, by the way, I watched your account on the network. Okay. And the Table for Three, they did an Impact reunion, Sting and Jarrett and AJ. Sting is so trying to put over that Joker Sting like it's the greatest thing on earth. He's like, oh, in the UK, they love it. No, or whatever. Which I'll have to ask Craig if that's true. Do they love Joker Sting? I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. But what they did with him was they played him off as the villain against Hogan, saying, oh, I know how Hogan really is. And he was and then, of course, Hogan did turn heel. And Sting was, of course, the right guy after he beat RVD with a bat for 4 hours. But yeah, I could see, even though that happened and he's played heel before, it would have been, Joker Sting was kind of weird, not heel weird, just weird.
It would have been the first time, at least to me, he wouldn't have been oh, my bad. Yeah, exactly. It was a natural heel, a non-cool heel.
Yeah. And, I think if he did, I could see him with a corny bandana and his crow's foot or whatever the fuck it's called, the soul patch flying in the wind, glasses and maybe 2 streaks of paint down. So I think there would have been some cool he could have done to change it up and reinvent himself. So that would be a good one. But Hogan as well. Hogan would have been, if they hadn't already done the immortal bullshit, it would have been cool for him just to be a leader of a club and he sends out the goons. He doesn't have to wrestle, doesn't have to do anything. I don't know. I just think that's better option, one of the better options.
That would have been a really good one. But once again, he would have they would have had to bring him in as just a face and him remain a face up until that point, because he had been heel. Brooke would have been interesting too with Bully Ray. Like, obviously you saw Bully Ray coming, but had it been like Brooke Hogan and Bully Ray, at least the Brooke part would have been something you're like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Right, there was a good Brooke part. It was Brooke Adams when she came in. She was his girlfriend.
I guess there was an evil Brooke, just
there was evil
Brooke.
But no, it would have been cool if they made it so obvious that it was Bully Ray the whole time, which it was, and then it was Hogan. Do you know what I mean? Like that twist. Cool, but yeah, great question, dude. Keep them coming. But we're gonna end off with our fifth and last one. From Kristen C, New Hartford, New York. Yeah, I know her. With all the shoots that TNA did, funny segments, and focus more on pure wrestling, is there a favorite promo still that from TNA Impact Wrestling? It's actually really good. And I was talking to her. This is spoiler. It's my girlfriend who asked this, so I have to answer it on the show. I try to update her and teach her about about wrestling, and she enjoys it. But her question
she used to be a big Moose fan.
She just because she likes the hand movement. She also hums anytime also that I'm doing something wrong, she hums the Chris Benoit theme song. So she's a keeper. True story. But the thing is I try to show her, Impact now is known for being more of a variety show with storylines and good storytelling, beginning, middle, and end, arcs and stuff. But back then it really was more focused on just straight wrestling and weird segments that kind of were thrown in there by Vince Russo. So there really wasn't really promos like you can name in WWE. Or, obviously they have double the amount, triple the amount of time on them, but they don't have that historic ones. Do you have any that come to mind? I wrote down a few, and I'll run down.
Yeah. Obviously, the RVD one most recently that got them banned from Twitch might have been one of the best promos in wrestling history for any promotion.
Yeah, you got to give it up to him for reinventing himself, man, or not reinventing himself, whatever you believe. It's maybe it's him.
I'm just me, whatever.
TNA has always been good. Impact's always been good about vignettes, and I don't know if we included that in this, but if we do, that is great. Those vignettes with him are good. The treehouse segments are good.
Yeah.
I like the Hardy. Sorry to interrupt. I'll let you get back to it, but when Hardy turned heel originally, and he was doing the Antichrist vignettes, and he was giving out concussions for fucking free, and I love that part.
The Broken Hardy stuff prior to Final Deletion, that was a match, but all that stuff was really good too.
But where were you going? Were you Steiner? I feel like.
Well, I would say Steiner was my favorite actual promo. The Steiner math where he starts going in on it, and at first you see Petey Williams like nodding his head, like yeah. Wait a second, what the fuck kind of math is this? Like trying to figure out like what's going on. Like that to me, it's so good because even now, like people talk about it, but like Twitter, like random people who aren't even wrestling related will bring that in, and it's just a really funny and really good promo that I don't think was intended to be as good as it was.
It's really funny. Like Scott Steiner's promos at that time, I compared to fine wine. It's like when in WCW, if you went on the internet, everyone shit on Scott Steiner's promos. WWE, they shit on his promos. And by TNA time, I think maybe he embraced it, or we as fans embraced it as just being like, oh, that's Scott Steiner, man. The shit he says is funny unintentionally, Just give him a mic and see where he goes. So yeah, that's a classic. You had the fugitive Rocket Khan in the back. If you've seen her, please report her. In the background there. That's a classic. Him doing announcing during Main Event Mafia when he was the ring announcer is genius. Anytime he calls Joe fat is good. But speaking of Joe blasting Scott Hall after Scott Hall no-showed a pay-per-view, that one was a legit shoot, and that was cool to me. Christian after winning the title. So there's a lot of different little ones that aren't really known that you could go back on the network and listen to, which is what we're about to segue and piece out on. But yeah, I like all those. And of course the Flair Lethal, what I just mentioned with Fortune, that's a great viral, is I think on the same level as the Steiner math. I think it's up there as far as known by the common fan. at least viewed by the common fan. But yeah, so I think we're headed in a direction where we'll get some of those promos, and those will kind of go to the front of the line. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm with you there, my friend.
So, but which one is your all-time favorite? If you could only pick one.
It's hard to beat the Flair Steiner math, just because they've been played in your head for so long. I would say, if you get a chance to go listen to Christian Cage after he won the Impact title or NWA title, it is really good. But the one we're about to play actually is my favorite, and that's obviously why I made you record it. It's just something about Dusty Rhodes that I can listen to talk forever. And this one is no exception. This one is great. I've mentioned it before on the show. It's surprising because you didn't know where it was coming from. But it's NWA TNA early years, I think episode 28. You want to just end off on that and give them a laugh to just leave it on?
I think one thing I will say that I like so much about Dusty is every place he was talks about him in such high regard.
Yeah.
People from WCW, if you watch the Rise and Fall of WCW video, we were talking about that previously. They shit on the bookers but Dusty was great. It was the other people. Yeah. Dusty was phenomenal.
He was a smooth talk.
People in NXT, they talk about how much, so many people have talked about how much they love Dusty. WWE and TNA and Impact, just everywhere he went, people realized how special he was to wrestling. And I think this promo is is a great example of
how we're going to immortalize. Here we go. Here's our memoriam to Dusty Rhodes, the legend. We'll just leave it off on that. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Here's 4 minutes of that promo. If you want to listen all the way through, I tell you it's worth it. If you want to listen to all of it, this is courtesy of the Impact Plus app. Go on there, get your 30 days subscription for free.
30 months free.
30 months of it. Oh, Lord. Well, you can always go on there and listen to great stuff like this. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you.
Later, guys.
It sounds a little bit like everybody's cross with everybody tonight.
That's an understatement, Dream.
Russo, are we cross with each other? If we are cross, I need to know, because I like it when I'm cross with a cancerous man. About 35 years ago, I drove up at a building just like this. When I looked outside, there was a marquee there. And that marquee said, Pro Wrestling at 8 p.m. It did not say that there was going to be a midget beaten off in a trash can at 8 p.m.
Oh.
In the words of my good compadre, what a rush that was. Tradition, entertainment. We need entertainment. We need change. We can't lose tradition. I remember in a hotel room after 300 days on the road, looking into a mirror crossing some cheap-ass dive that I was sitting in, drinking my last cerveza, if you will, watching a black and white television, and looking over at my bag, and the NWA title was sticking out. Right there, I knew wrestling was real. Right there, I knew wrestling was real. You guys in the back, I was asked here tonight by Mr. Jared Jarrett, one of the great promoters of all time, 50 athletes better listen back there. You have an opportunity tonight. I'm going to draw a line in the sand just like they did at Alamo. I'm going to draw a line in the ring. You got an opportunity to step up and grab a hold of that lightning bolt. Grab a hold of it before it crashes to the ground.
Oh, BG James out to observe.
Yeah, you need tradition and you need change. But guys, let me ask you this question. How about Ricky Steamboat wrestling for 1 hour, 300 days a year, 7 days a week? How about Jeff Jarrett last week, 3 men, 30 minutes of pain, blues, and agony? How about that? Or how about a midget beating off in a trash can?
The choice is yours.
Lord, I've never been so entertained in all my life. Vince Russo claims to be the new Messiah, the new change. Many people blame him for businesses falling and crumbling to the ground. You have an opportunity back there tonight to stand up, make a choice, cross this line in the sand, make yourself something, work to be world's heavyweight wrestling champion, not that midget beating off in a trash can. So I just about summed it all up. You got a choice to make. You guys got a choice. You guys on Monday got a choice. You guys in the industry got a choice. Everybody's got a choice to grab tradition and make it something new, something real, something right. Wrestling is real. It says pro wrestling on the marquee. It does not say a midget beaten off in the trash can. So it's time we sing some old songs for some new people. The